Thanks, Alan. This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast. Our special guest today from Dover, Delaware is Andrea T. Martin. She's an out-of-the-box international motivational speaker, an Amazon international best-selling author, and a Christian life coach. She is the founder and CEO of Discovering My Wings, LLC, where she empowers and equips women to discover their life's possibilities and take flight into their purpose. Oh, my gosh, that's a wonderful mission. How are you, Andrea?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So when did you become out of the box and start doing this wonderful journey you're on?
Right. So, well, the truth be told, I've always been somewhat out of the box.
Okay, good.
Which actually gave me an opening into what I do today as a speaker and Christian life coach. Because, my past, like many, I'm sure, is full of mistakes and situations that we aren't very proud of.
Right.
But what I've, came to realize is that I was stuck in my painful past for year after year after year. And I just reached the point where I was like, man, there has to be more to life than this.
Yeah.
And, I had to go through what I call my metamorphosis process to discover my wings. Why was I created? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And I went through that process. And, upon coming out of that process, I decided I was going to reach back and get others and help pull them through the process.
Good for you. So the process is really long and hard, and you have to be patient, and you're frustrated, and you're angry, and you're in love. I mean, you go all through all these emotions. So how did you work through that? Did you work through some counseling? Did you have some 27 hours of prayer a day? What did you do?
It was actually a combination of things, David. So, one of the things was I had to first, go through a forgiveness process. So I was holding on to things and I was being very hard on myself. And so what I knew was that God had forgiven me, but I hadn't forgiven myself.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I had to acknowledge what had happened, because I'm a firm believer what you don't confront will continue.
Ooh, love that.
And so I went through the forgiveness process of forgiving myself, receiving God's forgiveness. And once I did that, I started to feel some freedom. I began to, and it's actually, David, what I call my WINGS process, WINGS. And so the W stands for what happened, and that's that forgiveness process that I go through, receiving God's forgiveness and forgiving myself. And then the I stands for identifying obstacles and challenges. What's preventing me from moving forward and living the life that God intended me to live? In a lot of ways, I was in my own way.
You bet.
And so, there was fear, there was procrastination. Am I good enough? So I had to identify what those things were so that I could address those. And then, so that was the I. The N stands for notice you. I'm a firm believer that in order to be who God created you to be, you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
Authentically, at your core, not who somebody else tells you are, not who people, they judge you and put you, keep you in a bad place because of the mistakes you've made. One of my favorite quotes I always say is, be free from the penitentiary of public opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because people were holding me hostage in my past. So I got free from all of that. I discovered who God created me to be. And then I looked again at my painful past and I said, Andrea, what can you learn from what you went through? And so I let my past wounds become my future wisdom.
Nice.
And I learned from it. And I put a plan in place to start walking and flowing in God's purpose for my life. And that's kind of how my process went. Now, David, I had to repeat some steps, okay?
You think?
Yeah. I repeated. I went in circles, and it didn't always feel good. It wasn't always easy, but God blessed me. I was able to make it through, and here I am today.
Good for you. So what's the G and the S?
The G stands for grow through the process.
Okay.
If you can turn your past pain and look at it as a growth opportunity and the lessons that God intends for you to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then the S stands for soar into your destiny.
Ooh,
So, soar into your God-ordained destiny. don't just go through life living it. Live it to the fullest, abundantly, as God intends for us to live it.
And it sounds so easy to do. It's, to some of us, impossible to do. And to some of us, will go, okay, big breath, big sigh, here we go. And I might make it through and then I go, yeah, I'm over it. And so you got to have, right? You got to have some encouragement, some support, some prayer, all kinds of things to help you through those things, right?
That's right. Absolutely. And that's another thing that I do. I built a community that's actually called the Butterfly Society, because a lot of times when we've come through our process, there are other people that are struggling with the same things that we've survived.
Yes.
Absolutely. And sometimes we think we have to stay in a silo and we can't share what we struggled with. Meanwhile, here's your brother and sister sitting beside you struggling, and you can give them hope that they're going to come out of it, but it requires a community. It requires communication.
Absolutely. Because one of the hardest parts, I think, is when most people are going through wherever they're stuck at, and we all get stuck at some point in our life, we feel like we're the only ones, right? We feel like we're alone. Nobody else is going through what I'm going through. You can talk to me and tell me about your experience, but you're full of it because my experience is different than yours, so leave me alone.
That's right.
Right? Man,
Yep.
What a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. It's and that's why the word process is so important.
Yeah.
Because, it's not something that happens overnight, and it requires you to be vulnerable, and you risk people rejecting you, or, some people won't receive you. And so, that vulnerability in the beginning was very hard for me. Oh, my goodness. I'm an executive at one of the country's leading financial institutions, but here I was with struggles in my personal life. So I was a public success, but a private failure in many ways. And there's so many people dealing with that. And then, David, you add in social media where it allows people to, pretend that they have this wonderful life.
Right.
when they really don't.
They really don't. I've been in your shoes. The outward persona is, wow, David's really got it going on, And then I go home and I'm going, boy, today sucked. It was so hard. And then over time, and again, with me, couldn't agree with you more. It's a process, and everybody's process, I would think, even though the goal is the same, everyone's process and steps is going to be unique, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And so you got to accept your uniqueness. That I'm not Andrea. I'm David, and so I'm not Lucille. I'm not Andrea. I'm not Joe Bob. It's my own uniqueness that I have to understand, discover, pay attention to, learn about, and accept.
Right.
And forgiveness is, oh my gosh, that's like that's like half the puzzle, right?
It is. It really is. We have to know that we're worthy of the forgiveness. Yeah.
Fascinating. I did that. I'll tell you a short story. My father and I didn't have the greatest of relationships, and once we started getting close, I was almost 40, and he passed away. We had some unfinished questions and things like that, so it was really a challenge for me. So it took me 10 years. And I went from California to where he's buried in a small town in Idaho, and I stood out there next to his headstone, knee-deep in snow, blue sky, great sun, beautiful day, screamed, hollered, prayed, yelled, whatever. And at the end of several hours, I had forgiven him, I had forgiven myself, and I had a very peaceful 8-hour drive home.
Wow.
But it was an unbelievable. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew I had to go there. You know what I mean? And, when you get those nudges, whatever it is, maybe it's a nudge to go around the corner, across the street, or say hi to a stranger. But whatever that nudge is, at some level, you got to go, okay, I'll do that. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, as a Christian life coach, I have to keep that in mind, because as you forestated, what works for you may not work for someone else.
Yeah.
And, I have to understand when working with my clients, what process is it that they need to go through, and I draw it out of them. I can't tell them what they need to
Right.
do. They have to know.
And when you get in that place, obviously, to me, you have a servant's heart, which gives you almost immediate credibility, authenticity, and integrity. And so when you sit down with somebody new, you have to have all that before they can open up to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if not, you'll be basically spinning in circles or spinning your wheels and not really making any progress. And then you've got a frustrated client.
Yeah.
They're looking at you like this didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important. And so before any session, I'm always in prayer, and I do a preliminary call only because, David, the truth of the matter is there are some people that I won't reach.
Yes.
There's some people that I won't be a good fit for, or I'll know in my heart, you know what, it's not fair of me to waste their time.
Right.
Let me refer you to someone else or things of that nature. I take it very seriously, and the values that you mentioned are so important. Integrity, honesty, all of that is so important, and I keep that in mind. In addition to my relationship with God is very important.
Good for you. I know you have workshops, right? Tell me how the workshops work.
Yeah, so I have a couple of things. I have a workshop that I offer mostly once every quarter, and that workshop is called Positioned for Purpose and Prosperity. And what that does is I bring the women into one room, and we roll up our sleeves. It's not any of those pretty motivational, empowering sessions.
Thank you, Lord. Oh, my God. But I want the T-shirt. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then you leave, and there's no change. So, there's some pre-work, and when they come in, we're going through that wings process, but at a much deeper level. I'm taking them back to their past experiences.
Yeah.
And we're working through what lessons did you learn? How are you smarter, better, wiser? And helping them change their perspective of how to view that painful past. And usually purpose somewhere comes along the lines after when they're looking at their painful past.
Yeah.
And, we get clear on their purpose. And then, there's a healing that has to take place. And then once we've gone through all of that, there is a follow-up after the session because a lot of them are able to monetize from their purpose. The Bible speaks of having 8 multiple streams of income.
You bet.
So we go through, what does that look like for you? How can you monetize the gifts, skills, and talents that God has instilled within you? So that's a high level of what the workshop looks like.
That's a very high level. And it's fascinating that you say the 8 streams, because it's something that I've told people for years. I haven't used that number, but I've told people for years that no matter what your vocation, like I'm a voice actor by profession, so I record commercials and audiobooks and all that kind of stuff. So if I don't have multiple streams, revenue streams, it ain't happening, and there's not a career that I can think of, even a car salesman. And I know a lot of them. You got to have different sources of income, or
absolutely
it makes it impossible to honor God, bless your family.
That's right, absolutely.
So your workshops, are they in large groups, individual? What are they like?
Yeah, so I try not to go any more than 15 to 20 people because I need the workshops to be effective.
Yes.
And that's why I do them multiple times during the year. And then, in addition to the workshops, I have an annual women's conference that I'm right now in the middle of planning every September. I have the Discovering My Wings. It's a women's empowerment experience. And this year I'm expecting over 400 women to be in attendance, because there I'm bringing the women in and I'm giving them tips, tools, strategies, resources, lots of empowerment, motivation, prayer, great food, music, lots of fun, sisterhood. And then I send them on their way, but they have the opportunity to extend their experience with me by working with me as their coach.
Nice. I was going to say that's got to be a wonderful door opener for them
Yeah.
I'm sure probably some of them, probably many of them even, you would know better than I, but probably many of them have already worked with you, right? And they know, they have a sense of what that purpose is like, and maybe they're coming to get reinforced that they're on the right path and get more
Yeah.
sisterhood and all those kinds of things, plus the brand new people who just have a huge question mark on their forehead, you know?
That's exactly right. You're spot on. The Butterfly Society, which
Yeah.
is my tribe, they are in attendance. They help to spread the word, and then there are people that I have never met before that end up in the room. They just say, "I feel like I need to be there," and it's been very beneficial. And I should also add that at the end of the experience, we release live butterflies. So this
Oh,
year, I'll be
yeah.
releasing 250 live butterflies. It's symbolic.
I just got the world's largest goosebumps. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on a long
Powerful.
wig and come, I'm going to come see you.
Come on.
Oh my God. Just call me Davina. I'll be there,
I love it. I love it.
Oh, my goodness. Folks, you need to go to AndreaMartin.com. It's ANDREA, AndreaMartin.com, and you'll find out about her services and the Butterfly Society and all sorts of things. I like the way your breakout of give me 8 weeks and your life will be transformed, and then you bullet point 6 questions that can really get people's attention
Right.
and hopefully give them an aha moment, right?
Right, absolutely. And if I could, David, it's AndreaTMartin.com.
Oh, I missed that. You're right. Thank you. AndreaTMartin.com. My bad.
No worries.
AndreaTMartin.com. So check that out, folks. It's a wonderful website. It's easy to read. It's easy to click through and learn more about how Andrea T. Martin can help you. So the best way for them to get a hold of you or reach out to you is through your website or social media, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, so either way works. They can, as you said, go to my website, AndreaTMartin.com, or they can find me on any of the social media platforms by typing in Andrea T. Martin or just discovering my wings, and I'll pop right up.
Perfect. Andrea, appreciate the time so much, and thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us, and I wish you continued blessings, continued success, and I hope maybe 1 or 2 people that are listening to this recording reach out to you.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity, David.
Listen to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/Your 20-Minute Podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.